Welcome to Compass Points, the weekly podcast for CompassKnox.com. CompassKnox.com is your best source for news and politics in Knoxville and Knox County. If you'd like to learn more about the topics discussed on today's podcast, go to CompassKnox.com and subscribe for in-depth coverage and much more.
Welcome to Compass Points, a podcast about Knoxville and Knox County government, politics, business, education, and just about anything else that grabs our attention. I'm Scott Barker. I'm the editor of Compass. We're a subscription-based website and newsletter where we report on all those topics and more. You can find us at CompassKnox.com. We're recording this in the opulent studios. It looks like the Oval Office in here. There's so much gold. Of Barbarian Productions in Rocky Hill, where Lord Seth Barber reigns supreme. Seth, it's time for you
for my 3-day-old weather forecast.
Present the 3-day-old
it's
weather
raining.
Forecast.
Wow, apparently we had some tornadoes in neighboring counties, or some possible tornadoes with injury and stuff like that. So once again, we're in another week of tumultuous weather, on and off storming and whatnot. My wife and children have decided that it's never going to stop raining, and we're just going to live in it's going to be a cold, wet summer this year. To reference the gold, it's all green and gold. I've been a diehard Packers fan since I was a kid, so it's not real gold, everybody. It's Packers green and gold. And
this is actually Lambeau Field South, because I'm a Packer fan too. Although I don't have the cheesehead bona fides that you do. You're from Wisconsin.
I am indeed, and I've had the joy in my life of getting to go to 2 games, but not one in Lambeau yet. I got to see the Packers in Nashville last year. And when I was a wee little lad, they used to play 1 game a year in Milwaukee. Yeah. And for my birthday one year, my dad got me and a friend and a friend's dad tickets, and we went. And that was my first soiree into fame. I was on a bumper coming out of a commercial, showing how cold it was. We were all bundled up and freezing our butts off, and the camera was in our face. And so apparently, I'm very photogenic, at least according to that camera guy in that one Fox broadcast from 1994. 3, something like that.
Well, so, I jumped on the bandwagon. I was a fair weather, no pun intended, fan. I guess I wouldn't say I'm a fair weather fan, but I did jump on the bandwagon when I was a wee lad, when the Packers won the first couple of Super Bowls, and I remember those barely. I mean, I couldn't remember individual plays, but I remember watching the games, and of course that was. Everybody talks about three-peats. Last three-peat, the Packers, NFL. Because they won the NFL championship the year before. They won the first and second, and the first Super Bowl and the second. So.
Right. It's always a fun argument as a Packers fans when you have Pittsburgh and Dallas fans talking about how many Super Bowls they won. Kansas City fans are getting in that conversation nowadays too. And it's like, well, okay, in the Super Bowl era, I guess you have the numbers. But if you go in the history of the sport, pretty sure Green Bay has the most championships of all.
They do. Well, all right. Enough about football. We don't really cover sports. So there was a lot. We had a short week because of the Memorial Day holiday, but it was packed with news. So we'll be talking about City Council candidate Jeff Tallman, who is having to go before the Election Commission for a residency hearing. He hasn't been living at his residence, which is currently a construction site, in a couple of years. And so they're going to check to see if he is actually eligible to run for the 4th District City Council seat. The City Council on Tuesday approved a new contract for lots more traffic enforcement cameras. And so we'll take a look at that. There was big news on Central City real estate development from actually it was from 2024. We'll look at that. The council also approved the Magnolia Avenue Chilhowee Park redevelopment district, and that was in a meeting that there were some fireworks there. There was some impassioned name calling that went on there. The Council also approved Mayor Indy Kincannon's budget for 2025-26, and I had a work session on the separate issue, and it needs to be emphasized, it's a separate issue of the potential sales tax increase that she has proposed for the city. But we start off with turmoil in the juvenile detention center, which really kind of blew up on Thursday. And word of warning, just like Lord Seth's weather forecast, this could be dated by the time you listen to this. Hopefully not, but we record this on Friday morning. As of now, this is what we know. If something happens Friday afternoon, hopefully we'll be able to patch in something to the podcast. But this is the state of affairs as of Friday morning in the in this issue. And what happened was this is at the Richard L. Bean Juvenile Service Center, where underage offenders go, or alleged offenders, accused offenders, go to spend a little time before they wind up going to court. And it has been run for the last 53 years, by Richard L. Bean, the man for whom the center is named. He is now 84 years old. He has, as I said, he has been the superintendent of that facility since I was 10 years old. So, 9 years old. So, it's been a long time. Anyway, earlier this week, he fired 2 employees, Stephanie Clowers, who is a nurse, and an information specialist, Thomas Cordell, and for allegedly telling investigators with the Department of the Department of Children's Services about various problems at the center. Obviously, that is the allegation is that Bean fired them in retaliation for talking to investigators. The firings were particularly acute. Clowers is the only nurse at the facility, so when she was fired, it left all the juveniles who were detained there without anybody to provide any health services for them, and that's a 120-bed facility. So I don't know how many inmates are in there at any particular time, but it's close to capacity, which most of these facilities are. Then that's a lot of kids without most of them teenagers without access to a healthcare provider. And then the Cordell was the only IT person at the center, so pretty much did some damage to the staff. Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs and juvenile court judge Tim Irwin were pretty upset. They talked to Clowers. They were demanded that Bean rehire them, reinstate them. They pointed out that hey, this kind of exposes us to lawsuits here. You've got wrongful termination. You've got it's a violation. The state law requires that they have a healthcare provider on site, and they didn't, and so they impressed upon Bean the importance of reinstating them. He decided to do so, but then Jacobs, in a statement later in the week, that he posted to his Facebook page said that more information come to light. Now, he didn't say what kind of information. He hasn't disclosed that, but more information has come to light, and apparently it's bad enough for him to call on Governor Bill Lee to intervene, to order the Department of Children's Services, which provides oversight for juvenile detention facilities, to assume the management of the Bean Center and and do that immediately. In the short term, in the long term, the plan would be for the sheriff's office to manage the facility. In other words, after 53 years, Bean would be out. He said that he has no confidence. Jacobs, that is, has no confidence that in the leadership of the center, which is pretty interesting. This whole thing is a little bit more complicated than most would be, because most counties, if not all, in Tennessee either have the court system run the juvenile facility or their sheriff. The Knox County has neither one. They have an appointed board of trustees that provides direction and oversight, supposedly, for the detention center. But only 7 members on it. Only 3 of them vote, however. The 3 who vote are longtime political allies of Bean. Bean used to have a whole lot of political allies. He and his wife Lillian, who passed away last year, I believe. The Lillian Bean ran kind of a massive, powerful patronage system for decades, and called the Bean Machine. And while its influence has waned over the years, it's still in some circles is pretty respected. It's they were Republicans, and so this Republican system is in place. Jacobs wants to do away with the board of trustees. Wants to obviously do away with Bean as far as running the center, and turn that over to the sheriff's office in the long term. Now, Sheriff Spangler said that's fine with him. He's okay with that. So, and County Commission Chair Gina Oster said that she'd been in touch with Jacobs and had then contacted the law department. They're drafting an ordinance, because this has to be changed by ordinance for it could be ready at least on first reading for the June County Commission meeting in July. They'll have to have second reading, and that would codify that change, and that would have to be made for the long term. But like I said, in the short term, the solution that Jacobs wants to see happen is he wants to see DCS step in, take over, and manage the facility for at least the next few months. That has not happened yet as of Friday morning. I want to make sure that's clear. As of Friday morning, that hasn't happened. DCS, I tried to call DCS yesterday, or tried to contact them. Thursday I tried to contact them. They did not get back to me. Richard Bean did not respond to a message seeking comment either. So that's where kind of the situation stands now. Of course, being a Republican, I don't know if you can still call him a power broker, because it's the Bean Machine is so it's so 1990s. Anyway,
I mean, it's still legacy and stuff like that that's in play,
yes.
and
yeah. Well, there are a lot of there are people in who work for Knox County in various offices,
sure,
who owe their jobs to,
I'm sure there's a few people in the state
Bean.
in the state house and stuff that do that have some that have some relation going back as well.
Yeah, but it might be. It's not surprising then that the two Democratic state legislators here, Sam McKenzie and Gloria Johnson, have were kind of critical because they said, and not without justification, that that issues and problems with the detention facility have been ongoing. They've been documented, and that it was basically they were saying it's about time.
Right. That's why I question this whole thing that we don't have the answer to yet. Is I get the timing with the firings and whatnot kind of maybe makes the excuse, but this doesn't seem like this is new old news, I guess.
Well, it's new news. I mean the
new news on
Clowers. Clowers. One of the things that she said is that there are problems with tracking medications, and one she did an interview with the News Sentinel. I didn't get an interview with her, but the News Sentinel did, and she told them that there was one incident where one of the juveniles there got a hold of the drugs that were for another individual and took them and lost consciousness. And after losing consciousness, nobody at the facility either provided or called for any medical assistance. So they just let them pass out and lay there, I guess. I don't know. I mean, those are kind of new things, but there was.
Well, I guess my point is it's new that we have this specific
that specific type of a thing. The big thing that one of the big things that's been going on for years is that Knox County or the Bean facility, they use what's called seclusion. What in an adult prison would be solitary confinement. They use seclusion more than any other facility in the state of Tennessee. They routinely use it for hours, sometimes even days, where a juvenile person accused who's in the jail will have to stay in their cell by themselves for an extended period of time. Like I said, hours, sometimes days. That was made more public by a report by ProPublica and WPLN Nashville Public Radio a couple of years ago. In that, Bean made a rather revealing comment. He told the reporter, what we do is treat everybody like they're in here for murder. You don't have a problem if you do that. Well, first of all, this is where people go once they've been arrested and they're waiting to go to court, that kind of thing. They're not murderers. They're for the most part, but they're not murderers. So that's anyway. That was and the article also pointed out that for years, DCS, they've asked to come in and take over, or at least Jacobs has asked for that. DCS has been documenting this excessive use of solitary detention, and this has gone on for years. They've put out these action plans that the Bean Center is supposed to follow. Haven't been following them, or at least they have to reissue them every year when they do their inspections, and they've not done anything. It's just that.
So I suppose the question for all this is, what is the apparatus that either Jacobs has or the state has to actually take control back? Like, understand that Jacobs has asked for it, But is there legal apparatus that
Yes.
DCS can step in and be like,
Well, DCS issues the permit for the operation of the center. They can revoke the permit or suspend the permit and then move in and take over. That is and then for the sheriff's office to do it on a long-term basis, that requires
the ordinance change?
the ordinance the county commission has, and commission chair Gina Oster has already said she plans to bring forward. So the legal apparatus is there. Whether the state does intervene is something we just don't know.
Right. So then the follow-up question on that part is what is the reasoning that they haven't already, or what would be the reasoning that they wouldn't at this time? That's where I'm confused.
Well, that was one of the things the ProPublica Nashville Public Radio article brought up is they have to be corrected every year.
Right.
Or at least have to go have a correction plan that they're supposed to follow every year, and apparently they're not following it because they keep being issued them every year, but nothing has happened with they've not had a suspended permit. They've not been there's no other correction has been put in place, and they haven't because this facility is overseen by this board of trustees. The board of trustees would presumably have they would have the authority to discipline Bean, fire Bean, suspend Bean, various mechanisms that boards have over the person who runs the facility. But as I pointed out, the 3 voting members, the only ones who count, there are 4 of them who are kind of like, an appendix. They're like an appendix, so they don't vote, don't do anything, but they're there. But the 3 voting
Not sure
members,
why we have them, but we have them like an appendix. I get it. That was a great one. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I guess you can put it on your your bio, and makes you look like you're an active member in the community. But the 3 who are voting members are being allies. One, I mean, I haven't looked at the intimate details of how they've been operating for the last few years, as far as the oversight and what they do at their meetings and that sort of thing. But it very well could be a case of the tail wagging the dog, in that they nominally have oversight, but Bean basically calls all of his own shots, and that
seems to be without specific evidence. Seems to be
that's not an unreasonable. I don't want to say accusation, but an unreasonable assumption. Anyway, so as it stands on Friday after right around noon, nothing more has happened, and that is the status quo. As we said, we'll update this if needed later. And indeed, there is an update. After we recorded the podcast episode on Friday morning, turns out that Richard Bean resigned from his post as superintendent of the facility that is named after him, the Richard L. Bean Juvenile Services Center. He sent a letter to John Valiant. I mentioned him earlier. He is the chair of the board of trustees that oversees the juvenile detention facility, and in it he is resigning effective August 1st. This is after, as we said earlier,
53-year career ends abruptly now with this. He, looking at the letter right now, he says he's honored to have served in the role, working with thousands of youngsters, but he's also, for all that, and said he appreciated, the opportunity and all that. Then he also said that he was dismayed and disappointed, quote unquote, by the rush to judgment of Jacobs and Judge Irwin and the other county leaders. I presume that's Gina Oster, the chair of the Knox County Commission. He then said that the employee of the center, and I have to believe that's a reference to Clowers, was underperforming and adversely affecting the day-to-day management of the center, and that's why she was fired. He also mentions the center's understaffed, and that finding competent employees is a challenge. But he said he's going to try to get everything in ship shape, quote unquote, for whoever comes in and oversees the office when he departs. He has expressed skepticism that the Department of Children's Services would be appropriate because they have their own staffing issues, but he would work with whoever comes in, and that's pretty much it. Bean is now out. There is one development that came in also this afternoon. As we mentioned earlier, the chair of the county commission, Gina Oster, is looking at drafting an ordinance change that would allow the sheriff's office to take over for the over operations of the center. But County Commissioner Shane Jackson, who's a Democrat, posted on the commission's online forum on their website that he thanked Jacobs for prompt action, but he's skeptical of both KCSO, the sheriff's office, and DCS. But what he wants to do is kind of step back and take a measured look at their options for a permanent solution. He wants to do an assessment of the current operations conditions, invite juvenile justice experts in, community leaders, families, advocates, all to weigh in and evaluate different models for governance, and then finally come up with a way to provide oversight that's transparent and accountable. So he's in that now. The spokesman for Jacobs' office said, "Yeah, they're in discussions about both these short-term and long-term solutions. Nothing's been decided yet." Bean's resignation is effective on August 1st. So I don't know if that means that. I guess that means that they will have until then to come up with something. Although if the state steps in, that could happen very, very quickly. Anyway.
Right, and his resignation timing doesn't necessarily change the timeline of an ordinance change.
That is correct. That can all change, in the blink of an eye. For instance, if the ordinance change does go through, the sheriff's office takes over. It would be about that time because it would take.
Yeah, that's true.
It would
two readings.
It would take two readings that would go June and July. So it would be about that same time for the sheriff's office to take over. If the Department of Children's Services steps in temporarily to do it, don't know whether they would keep him on and just provide oversight, or they would actually manage and he would be pushed out the door. That all that's kind of still up in the air. But the one thing is his 53-year tenure as the head of juvenile court the juvenile detention facility is coming to an end this summer, and there are a lot of questions going on there. There's sheriff's office budget, how that works, there's already money in the budget for operating this center. If the sheriff's office has to add employees there are things that we change that could affect the budget. Not to a huge degree. They should be able to absorb one or two positions or things like that. So anyway, that's something that we will find out in the coming weeks. But it is there is now clarity that there is going to be change at the juvenile detention facility, and Richard Bean is on his way out, and we'll have to keep tabs on what the next steps are going to be, whether they come quickly or down the road.
Next, we go to the city budget and taxes. On Tuesday of this week, or last week, City Council approved Knoxville Mayor Indy Kincannon $477.3 million budget for the next fiscal year. There wasn't really a lot of opposition. The budget, and we've talked about the budget a couple of times before. It has raises for police officers, firefighters, general government employees, and actually a little bit more for firefighters because some of the pay had to be adjusted, some of the pay scales. It's got more than $8 million for affordable housing, $1 million for homelessness prevention. They're going to renovate the Tennessee Amphitheater to the tune of $7 million, and they are going to make a $25 million lump sum payment to reduce the debt on the convention center, and that they estimate will save about $4.1 million a year in debt service payments and shorten the life of the debt by 2 years. So it doesn't require a tax increase, and it really passed fairly easily. They had Councilwoman Amelia Parker, who is a frequent critic of the administration, to say the least, kind of questioned the priorities. She thought that there might be a better use for the $25 million going to the convention center. She had to have explained to her that funding is dedicated to paying off the convention center debt, that revenue, and they can't divert it. They've been this kind of been a reserve that's built up in this fund that goes to the convention center. It's funded, I believe, by the hotel motel tax, but it can't be used for anything else. So they've got the money built up, and so they're going to use it to do this. There wasn't any real opposition from anyone else. The budget passed 7-1. Councilwoman Simi Singh wasn't there. Parker was the only one who voted against it. Then on Thursday, City Council held a work session where the Kincannon administration went into more detail on her sales tax increase proposal. Now this is separate from next year's budget. Mayor Cannon has proposed a sales tax increase of 0.5%. That is the local option sales tax. That is the maximum that it can be. So we've been tootling along with a sales tax rate below the maximum. One of the few counties in Tennessee that has it below the maximum. 5 of the counties that touch Knox County are at the maximum already. If you go to Sevier County and shop at the outlet stores there, you're going to be paying the
2.75 local,
9.75 overall state and local combined sales tax. You're paying that there if you go there to shop. The proposal would generate $47 million. Now here's the thing, right? All that the mayor and city council, this has to be putting this on the ballot has to be approved by city council. But they're not the ones who will be raising or lowering the taxes. So no need to take pitchforks down to the city county building. This is going to be voted if it gets approved. It's going to be up to the voters.
I don't think Scott meant to say it, but it sounds like Scott just said, take the pitchfork to your neighbors.
Well,
if it passes,
I think you kind of need to leave the pitchforks, in the garage, and or out in the shed. But these are metaphorical pitchforks. Thank you.
It's a ballot item is the moral of the story here.
Yes, it is a ballot item.
We are voting on this as residents.
And it will be up to the residents to determine whether this passes or not. Kincannon has made some kind of divvied up how it would be, the money would be used. Like I said, it's $47 million a year. It's nothing to sneeze at. That's like 60 cents on the tax rate, property tax rate. So, anyway, the voters are going to be the ones who determine that. This has happened before, actually. Mayor Victor Ashe, back in the late 80s, got a sales tax referendum passed. What he did, and Kincannon has said she will do this, is she's got kind of, right now she's got kind of the generalized pots where the money would go, $10 million for housing, various amounts for sidewalks, greenways, parks, all these various things, building facilities and maintenance. They've got $70 million of maintenance requests that they have not been able to fulfill yet, and they can't in next year's budget. So all that, one thing that Ashe did was he made specific projects, laid those out with timelines and all, and Kincannon has said she is going to do that as well.
There's a website coming online, if not already.
There's a website. The city is going to have a website up or has a website up to do that. I will have to look that up and get back to you on that. But anyway, as I said, this is not for next year's budget. There's plenty of funding in next year's budget. In fact, for the next few years, it's probably going to be okay. There's a lot of uncertainty about, obviously, all the stuff going on in Washington and how that might affect local budgets. So that's a little unclear. This $47 million could, cushion that. For instance, the $10 million for affordable housing. The two primary federal programs that give local governments funding for affordable housing could be going away. They're on the chopping block at the Department of Housing and Urban Development right now. So there's some cushion there that this would bring in. Now, obviously, there are going to be opponents of this. They don't. There's from the right. There are the people who think that no tax increase is ever justified. Then on the left, there are people who point out that the sales tax is inherently regressive and is more of a burden on low income residents. One of the things that the county administration has said, in this is that the impact is actually kind of low. The 50 cents on the dollar is what it is going to be. Groceries are exempt. Rent is exempt. Several other categories of spending are exempt. And there is a cap on sales tax in the state of Tennessee of $1,600. So anything that if you got something that costs $2,000 that you're buying, you pay tax on $1,600 of it, and $400 of it is tax free. So anyway, they'll be making those arguments, through the at least into the summer. City council will be voting on this. If they vote to put it on the ballot, then the city voters will have a chance to vote in November. There is an off chance the county could join in on this. Right now, there are no plans for the county to do that. They'll have 40 days from the time the council approves it. If they do, they'll have 40 days to piggyback on the city's referendum. No plans to do so. I don't see that happening.
I have tons of thoughts on this. I'll save it for my own show, Almost Agreement. I think it's a fascinating, if nothing else, this is like a fascinating how these different entities work and run together and run apart. Like just the idea that we could have a countywide election in an odd numbered year is super exciting to me.
Yeah.
Like just some of the technical parts of this are super neat. And again, how the breakdown would go if the county matches with the school parts and all those different things are super interesting.
Well, that's one of the things, right? If the city goes it alone, the city gets 100% of the revenue.
Right.
And
which that was Chris was talking about that at the meeting, Chris Caldwell, where they're discussing it, because essentially what will functionally happen is the city's pitching into Knox County schools will grow from 72 to 59% of their total sales is coming, but it's just it's a 6 or half dozen math equation is what's happening.
Yeah, right. Like right now, the current sales tax of that 72% that the city gathers goes toward directly to the schools.
Right.
The city doesn't even see it; it just goes to the schools. This half cent, the revenues from this half cent, the $47 million, if the county does not join in, all of that goes to the city, none of it to the school system. So, and it's significant because the city collects more than 2/3 of the sales tax revenues in Knox County.
Right. That's the important part to be in the conversation for the county residents out there, is that as a county resident, whether the county goes ahead and matches the sales tax increase or not, you're going to spend most of your sales tax in the city anyway, and you're going to be paying this extra 0.5%.
Right. And that's one of the selling points that Kincannon is going to make, or has been making already.
Right. Not only countywide, but statewide. And
this doesn't fall on completely on city residents. They estimated, this is a real kind of back of the napkin estimate. This is not real, but they say roughly half of the sales tax revenue comes from people who live outside the city limits. That includes people from Halls and Carnes and
Lexington,
Powell,
Kentucky,
and who come in.
Florida.
But it does affect these Knox County residents because they come into the city and buy things in the city. If they go to Turkey Creek, that money goes to the city of Knoxville. So goes Turkey Creek's inside the city of Knoxville.
Right.
So,
you go back to you mentioned Victor Ashe earlier, and if you haven't looked at the map of what the city of Knoxville actually contains, it's a very interesting shape.
It looks like an octopus.
We'll put it that way. Like a 37-legged octopus, but
because they did these finger annexations that went out the major corridors and snagged commercial nodes
My favorite's right out here, North Shore and Pellissippi.
Yeah. North Shore Town Center,
which is like 3 miles west of me, and I'm in the county. But somehow between here and there, that's the city. I'm not, and then the city's on the other side of me too.
Yeah, well, Emory Road.
Yep.
The Emory Road exit on I-75, which is between Powell and Halls, it is in the city.
Right. I found that out the hard way with because the city of Knoxville does not allow. This is what I'm told. The city of Knoxville does not allow the feather flags that businesses like to put out front.
Yeah.
And we didn't know that. We put them up, and we're like, "We're in the city here." That's how I realized that property. This was years ago before I got smart, but yeah, that's how I realized that was a thing.
All right. Well, anyway, we'll have plenty of time to talk about this over the summer. If council approves it, if council doesn't approve it, we'll stop talking about it fairly quickly. But next up is another. Actually winds up being another tax item, but it is the city council also approved a Magnolia Avenue Chilhowie Park redevelopment area. They've been talking about this for a long time. This is a redevelopment area from the warehouse district where Covenant Health Park, the new stadium, is located. From there all the way out to Burlington, and includes Chilhowie Park and a little stretch of Cherry Street north of Magnolia. But it's primarily just right along Magnolia, which is almost all commercial, some multifamily residential there. There might be a handful of single-family residences still there. But anyway, what a redevelopment area does, to recap, we talked about these in the past, it enables the property owners to get incentives for redeveloping their property and upgrading their property, building new buildings on their property, whatever they do. Usually these are tax increment financing deals where, if you go in and you upgrade your property and it increases in value by, let's say, $1 million, the increase in property taxes that creates goes not to the general fund, but to make improvements in the area to support the development. That could be sidewalks, could be street crossings, could be sewer upgrades, could be all kinds of things. But that led to some pretty strange fireworks at that council meeting, because Councilwoman Amelia Parker, who, as I said earlier, is a frequent critic of the administration, was very upset. Now, Knoxville's Community Development Corporation, KCDC, they're the redevelopment arm of the city. They actually developed this plan, and this is a general plan. This is just this is the area where these things can happen. No, they no specific projects, nothing like that. This is the area where you can qualify for incentives, just pretty much just because you're there. Parker was really upset that and they had KCDC had a meeting where they invited property owners to come in and be briefed on it, and she was really upset that they didn't include tenants, whether they're commercial tenants or residents, didn't include them, and was really angry about that. Took Ben Bentley, the head of KCDC, to task for it, was very vocal, and also made more friends on city council by calling her colleagues puppets, because she said it's going to pass anyway, and because this city council is just a bunch of puppets, which was, I thought, interesting. I've never heard anybody at a public meeting call another. I've never heard a public official call another public official a puppet, but hey.
Rubber stamp is usually the phrase that gets floated around in councils and commissions and stuff like that. It's a rubber stamp commission.
Yeah.
But Yeah, 6 or half dozen.
Puppet's a little more personal.
Yeah, it's a little more. It's a little more of a direct stab.
But anyway, so one of the things then that Bentley and others, Rebecca Jane Justice, who's the chief of urban design for the city, several council members, pointed out, hey, the reason that you go to the property owners is because they're the only ones who qualify. Tenants don't qualify for tax increment financing. Only the property owner qualifies for that. And so, one of the things that Parker said was, that I think she said this on social media. I don't know if she said it in the meeting. I don't recall off the top of my head. But, that some tenants of commercial buildings renovate their buildings on their own. They put their own money into it for the and the property owner benefits from it, and that's just too bad because they don't own it, so they didn't get invited to this meeting because only property owners are the ones. They're the only ones who can take advantage of these tax incentives. But the goal of this is to revitalize the Magnolia Corridor. Once was a thriving corridor, lots of stately houses there. We've talked about some of them are restored or getting restored, and it's for the last 50, 60 years has been. It was actually it was one of those things where you had urban renewal hit the African American communities on the just east of downtown Morningside, the bottom, the whole that area right there where the Civic Auditorium and Coliseum are now. That area was in segregation days that was the black neighborhood, and urban renewal came in. People destroyed those neighborhoods, and the African Americans who lived there moved into other sections of East Knoxville, and East Knoxville was other than that area was lily white back in the up through the 50s and into the 60s. If you go back and look at the 1960 census information, there was one black family that lived between Cherry Street and the Chilhowie Park on the north side of Magnolia Avenue. And so then there was white flight away because that's what Southern white folks did in the 1960s when black folk moved into their neighborhood, is they ran away. And so so there was white flight from the area. There was a disinvestment in businesses along Magnolia that it's never really recovered from that. And this is a way that the city has come up with to address that and try to turn the fortunes of the Magnolia area around.
So is the assertion from Parker that this is just a gentrification effort, and this is just
I mean that always gets
this
put
is going to be just a new way to push the black community out.
Although the area is only the commercial properties that face, other than the Cherry Street thing and then the Chilhowie Park area, it's only the properties that front Magnolia Avenue, even the ones that on the north side, where I believe it's Fifth Avenue that goes there, the properties facing Fifth Avenue don't qualify. So it's right just the Magnolia facing properties, and those are almost all commercial. So now in the long term, yes, if you increase those property values, other property values in the area would theoretically increase, which could increase the value of the value of residential properties near Magnolia, and it could end up going up. But the and so that displacement is a real concern. It's a real thing, but one of the things is that nothing is going to happen out along this corridor overnight. I mean, how long has the baseball stadium been talked about and is built and now is open? And while there has been a lot of investment activity, there's not been a lot that's been built. Of course, that's not in a residential area where people would be displaced, but you know, there's not been. It's going to take a lot of time for that development around the stadium to materialize, and the same is for Magnolia Avenue. If so, there will be time for these things for people to make adjustments. Hopefully, one of the goals is to increase economic opportunity in East Knoxville for East Knoxville residents.
Right, bring in new jobs.
Now, whether it works out whether it works out that way or not, it remains to be seen. Obviously, that's a concern that is the Parker's foremost concern is that it will not provide economic opportunity for East Knoxville residents. It must be said that Parker does not represent East Knoxville only. She is an at-large council member. Gwen McKenzie, who is the council member who represents East Knoxville, is very much in favor of the redevelopment of Magnolia Avenue, trying to get it back to some semblance of its past glories. And so, anyway, we'll be, obviously moving forward, we'll be, following whatever developments do go in there. We'll be keeping track of those. And speaking of development, the Knox County Planning put out their annual development activity report for 2024 recently, and lo and behold, first time in memory, the Central City area of the county grew faster than any other single area of the county in terms of residences. So the net residences, which is new construction minus demolition, of 1,653. The closest area that had to downtown. It's downtown in the area. I mean, the whole Central City area, which includes the UT area, which we'll get to in a second. But was Northwest Knox County, Hardin Valley area, Hardin Valley Carnes. It added 1,623. So 30 more new units downtown than in Northwest.
So Knoxville. I got a silly question on this. Is there, when they do these little divisions of the county, are they likewise geographically as far as like acres, or is it?
They're pretty close.
Okay.
I mean, it's not.
So it's at the same amount of space, 1,600 new units and 1,600 new units.
Well, probably not the same amount of space. I don't know. I did not. I haven't looked at square mileage per.
Okay, just curiosity. I didn't know.
But probably not. But probably roughly equal.
Okay.
The one thing that is very different is that in Northwest Knoxville and Hardin Valley, most of the new units, residential units, are single-family houses.
Right.
In Center City, there are a lot of them that are apartments and condominiums. The two largest multifamily residential projects one is Hub Knoxville, right on Cumberland Avenue. The other is the second largest is the Mark at Knoxville, which is just off of Cumberland Avenue on Concord. Between them, that's almost 800 units.
Right. And
We're
two
just right
buildings.
there in
Right.
2 buildings and 2 developments. But there are other things too. Downtown also got the largest commercial investment. Axle Logistics new headquarters. So there's a lot. If you're a downtown advocate, there's a lot to celebrate in all this.
Just don't talk about parking and you'll be fine.
Don't talk about parking. Yes.
Sorry, the
Parking's a little trickier. So, but anyway, the report is available at the Knox County Planning website, and you can go there, and it's got all kinds of stats in that report. More stats than you really want. They talk about building permits issued, all kinds of stuff in there. But it is is one place you can go say, well, it's got lists out, the largest subdivisions that were approved, the largest, and plenty of the multifamily developments there. So,
right, I'd be curious to know how many ADUs have gone in since the city got
that's not in this report.
Oh, man.
But one of the things is for the second year in a row, new residential development investment more than $1 billion.
That's huge.
Total real estate investment countywide in new construction is $1.7 billion. So it's a lot of money out there, a lot of investment, and the thing is, with the housing market imbalance,
the demand is right along with it.
Yeah. It's there's all that activity in 2024, and we're still inventory's a little better than it was, but not much. So there's still a long way to go to kind of balance out the supply and demand in the housing market. So another city issue. I think the city council was quite packed on this, but the council also approved a contract with a company called Blue Line Solutions to install those most beloved features of traffic enforcement, traffic light cameras.
Well, this goes beyond that too.
But it goes beyond it. Yes, they are going to put in speed enforcement cameras in school zones inside the city limits. They are going to put them on at intersections that are that data show are more dangerous, at least more collisions, those kinds of things. And they're also going to put in noise detection cameras and enforcement cameras. One in up in on Gay Street, the other in the Old City. So this is going to be a major expansion of this type of traffic enforcement. One of the when you go, once these get installed, you go into a school zone. They're going to be like a series of signs. There will be signs. They're going to have those display signs that show your speed and whether you're going too fast heading into the zone, trying to kind of warn you. And then once you hit the zone, if you're still speeding, they'll give you an automatic ticket, just like they do at street lights in some intersections now. So this is going to be the main thing is to make school zones safer. That is the goal there. The cameras, there'll be quite a few cameras. The speed detection cameras for the schools. There are 46 schools in Knoxville, inside the Knoxville city limits. We'll have 150 cameras will be deployed in those zones. obviously, some schools have more than one street that are that are affected by the lower speed limits in school zones. There'll be 30 additional intersections that will have traffic light cameras on them, and as I said, 2 downtown in the old city. One thing is, this is going to be just like that. You'll get it if you are speeding, you'll get a ticket in the mail. You can go to court and city court and try to fight it as you would any other citation. But it is they're going to try to educate folks. But this is yet another good reason to go slow in school zones. The one interesting thing about this, the Blue Line is going to install and maintain the cameras, no charge to the city up front. So there's no outlay of tax dollars to go to the purchasing the cameras. They're not purchasing them. They're going to be Blue Line's cameras, although the data will belong to the city. And the revenues from citations will be split. However, it'll be 52% to the city and 48% to Blue Line. So that's where Blue Line makes their money. So if the camera system works as a deterrent, then Blue Line won't make as much money.
Right.
Of course, neither will the city. But that's the city doesn't actually rely on traffic citations to fund for the general fund. It basically goes to administering municipal court. The one thing that people might be thinking about is the Knoxville Police Department has its real-time information center, real-time crime center, where they have a network of surveillance cameras that they monitor. They don't actually monitor consistently each and every camera, but they can if they need to. It is going to be fully open in the fall, and I talked to KPD. These cameras, because these cameras, that the Blue Line cameras that council approved, will not be part of that system because they're not surveillance cameras. They take pictures. It's not a video feed. They take individual pictures. Now, obviously, if there is a reason, KPD has a reason to ask for images from those cameras, they will, and you can bet your bottom dollar that Blue Line will agree to do that.
Right. I wonder where the name Blue Line comes from.
But then that's also pretty standard for anybody. I mean, if if there is a crime that happened down the street from your house and you have a camera on your porch, one of these, one of the little surveillance cameras, they'll come and ask you if they can look at it to see if the getaway car passes in front of your house, to see if they can identify that or whatever. They do that already. They ask, and you don't have to give it to them, but a lot of people do. And that's the same thing they do with businesses. They'll go and ask them if they can review the video. You see that on Law and Order and all that stuff. So that stuff still goes on. So anyway, the moral of that story is slow down in school zones and you don't have to worry about it. And the enforcement cameras will be going in sometime in the next year. There will be, as I said, lots of signs, so pay attention when you're out there going through school zones. Finally, we're going to get to, for things that happened last week, City Council member Jeff Tallman is in the news. He's not said, I said member, candidate Jeff Tallman is in the news. He ran for mayor 2 years ago. He's and lost to Ken Cannon. And then he is running for the 4th District City Council seat. 4th District is North Knoxville, Northeast Knoxville, over to Holston Hills. He has lived in the 4th and Gill neighborhood of North Knoxville in this district since the 1980s. These are late 1980s, he said, when he moved there. But he is he's not living there now. He's not staying there now. He has a residence on in 4th and Gill. He owns property in 4th and Gill, and this property is the residence that he's using as his official residence for his campaign. Problem is, he's going to be building it's a kind of a ground up. He calls it a ground up renovation. He basically demolished a house, a building, and he's going to be building a duplex there for his residence. But for now, and for the last couple of years, he's been living in, staying at his property his wife owns in Dandridge. So he's not even in the city. Here's where it gets interesting, kind of one of those legal questions. The city charter requires that if you run for city council, you have to live in the district for at least a year
prior to
the election. So it is obviously less than a year to the election, and Tallman really admits he's not staying there. It's not. But he does own the property. It has been his residence. It's going to be a new, like I said, duplex there. He and his wife are going to live on one side. His mother-in-law is going to live on the other side. Duplexes are allowed in 4th and Gill. It's all, that's all fine. He's in the process of finalizing getting the permits for construction to begin. And but this city charter doesn't make exceptions for anything like that. It just says you got to be a resident there for a year. State law is a little different. Not really that different, but it allows for it does allow for temporary absences.
Does it specify what temporary is?
Well, you have to two things. First, you have to have the intent to return. Well,
true. Check.
Well, he says he's going to return,
right?
But you also have to take concrete steps. And Tallman, I believe, would say that he is taking concrete steps. He's getting his permits done. He's going to be coming back. And the state law actually says you can be gone for a year or longer, temporarily, and still use that as your residence. So whether the facts in Tallman's case fit that or not is something that the Election Commission is going to determine when they have a hearing on the 10th of June. Tallman will go there. He will make his case. Election Administrator Chris Davis will present the facts as he has determined them, and the Election Commission will then determine whether Tallman can go on the ballot or not.
So the short answer, real quick, is that state law supersedes the charter.
Well, yeah,
Okay. That's normal. Okay,
that's standard. But if he is approved to stay on the ballot, there'll be a 3-way race between him and Matthew DeBartoleben and Jane George, who has run for office before as well. So most recently against Tim Burchett in the U.S. House. So if Tallman does not go on the primary ballot, then it's between George and DeBartoleben in the primary, then both in the general election as well. So it'll be one of those things where the primary is just the first half of a long game. So anyway, we will be covering that hearing, and then we will report on that, and then that will right immediately after that they're going to officially set the ballot, and we will have the field completely set for the August primary. And
woohoo!
So, yeah, we
voting.
and we're already getting some press releases about some upcoming forums. We'll be reporting on those as well. Probably be a lot of them because we've got 5 district races and lots of candidates. So anyway, that was most of what happened last week. We still had other stuff we reported on we didn't even get to. So come to CompassKnox.com. You can subscribe there. You'll get our newsletter every weekday morning. You'll get feature stories on the website, and you'll be able to keep up with what's going on in Knoxville and Knox County. They're pain-free, not free, but pain-free. Anyway, next week we are looking.
The other part that's great about it too is you get to, if you're a Facebook person, you can get in the colloquy.
Yes, the Compass
Good fun
Colloquy,
chats.
which is our Facebook group, private Facebook group. Only subscribers can access it. We do that rather than have comments on our stories. But you can go there. You can talk about these local issues all you want with people who may agree or disagree, but they'll be there, and they're not shy about sharing their opinions.
And more importantly, they more or less know what they're talking about instead of just being a random Joe that doesn't have the insight of getting the Compass on the daily anyway.
That's right. So anyway, that's it is a perk of your subscription. We'll be covering lots of stuff next week. One of the big things is going to be the monthly school board meetings. Have a work session on Monday at 5:00. Thursday is a voting meeting at 5:00. Both of those are in the Summer Place boardroom in downtown Knoxville. Just a couple of things of note on the agenda. There's going to be a vote to hire Lewis Group Architects to design the new K-8 grade school for the Mechanicsville, Lonsdale, and Beaumont areas. We've talked about that. They're going to be paid almost $3.3 million for that design work. School board is also going to vote on renewing the charter agreement with Emerald Academy for another year, and they're also going to vote on whether to donate land to the Knox County Commission in Gibbs for a pedestrian bridge that will essentially safely link Gibbs High School on the east side of Tazewell Pike and Gibbs Elementary School on the west side of Tazewell Pike. That pedestrian bridge will is a safe way for young folk to go back and forth between those campuses. Anyway, we will be covering that. We will be covering more. Lots of things will happen. I'm sure a county and a city our size, there's usually no shortage of news, and we will bring all that stuff to you next week. That's it for now, though. Thank you, Seth, for your adroit engineering prowess there.
Now I got to go look up a word.
There you go. We also thank Will Wright for providing music for us. And again, come visit us at CompassKnox.com, and we will be back next week with more Knox County, Knoxville news and such.
CompassKnox.com is your best source for news and politics in Knoxville and Knox County. If you'd like to learn more about the topics discussed on today's podcast, go to CompassKnox.com and subscribe for in-depth coverage and much more. And many thanks to William Wright for composing our theme song. Compass Points is a partnership of Barking Shark Media and Barbarian Productions, and recorded by Lord Seth A. Barber at Barbarian Studios, Knoxville, Tennessee.